How does Luminous sit on top of and interact with QuickBooks? Let's go over that. The number one thing that accountants and operators confuse after you implement Luminous is that QuickBooks will no longer be a source for all of your detailed transaction data, nor your costing data for inventory. Luminous will. Let me explain.
Let me explain it to you very simply.
Once implemented, Luminous will actually be the source of truth for all of your sales orders, your invoices, your payments, purchase orders, and everything associated with those objects. So if Luminous is now front of line for all of that data, how do we interact with QuickBooks?
How can I do what is needed?
There are three main interactions to go over. Number one, invoicing, or wholesale AR is what I like to call it. So Luminous will now house all of your invoices. Once an invoice is written in Luminous, it will push a live sales invoice into QuickBooks. Anything that is updated in the invoice in Luminous, details like products, quantity, pricing, etc., will be pushed as an update into the sales invoice in QuickBooks. Payments will also be stored in Luminous. Whether you do the payment flow in QuickBooks, Luminous will pull it back in, store it there, or if you do the payment native in Luminous, we will push it over to QuickBooks. Either way, QuickBooks and Luminous will have everything you need on the invoicing and payment side of your wholesale business. Number two, purchasing. Purchasing is done in Luminous. This is because we are your system of record for landed cost. The pushing of a purchase order from Luminous to QuickBooks is actually optional, but if you'd like us to do that, it works very similar to our invoicing flow. When you create a purchase order in Luminous, we push a live purchase order into QuickBooks. Any of the updates done will also be pushed over to QuickBooks. The accountant can then bill off of that purchase order if they want to. Number three, journal entries. Instead of bogging down QuickBooks with hundreds of thousands of transactional line items, Luminous instead will summarize all of the notable actions or transactions and map them to specific charts of accounts. The most notable ones would be something like receiving, or when a sales order ships. Overall, when your value of inventory changes in some material way, Luminous will easily summarize this in a list of journal entries that you can push over to QuickBooks.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Overall, we find this to be one of the most important parts of implementation, how the operators interact with their accountants. We give you as much training as is necessary to make sure that all of these connections are happening properly. We also make sure that we meet with your accountants as much as possible so that they can close the books effectively every single month. Thanks, guys.